Hello and welcome back. This is Mr. Rob, and as I mentioned before on my first ever YouTube video, that I would be back to give you an update, and I'd like to do that for you now. First, I'd like to show you the trays that I treated in my other video. These were those contaminated trays that I sprayed, and then I added treated substrate. And as you can see, the mold, the contamination was stopped, and the growth and population was able to continue. Same with this one. A couple of these were in some very bad shape. Everything's, the contamination has been halted, and the growth is moving forward. And I believe this one was the worst one. And it's moving forward. And one thing about having substrate in trays like this, when you're dealing with condensation, you just want to flip them over if there's too much condensation on the top lid. You can just flip them over and that'll change for you. Or just leave them as they are if everything's okay. But the whole purpose of me doing those trays, as I did, was to enable me to understand the limitations of the HP drops. And so far, I'm very pleased because I'm able to actually move forward even though there's some serious contamination in what I'm doing. All right. So there's that. And this is the liquid culture that I had available to me last time. It was very young. It was a very young culture. And as you can see, that's definitely changed. But I did use this in my last video to start this tub off. And when I prepared the substrate for that tub, I didn't dry it out as I needed to. It was still very wet. Not very wet. It was more wet than it needed to be. And then I added liquid culture up on top of that, which did make it too wet. And as you can see, the spawn didn't want to move into the lower parts of this tub. Just kind of avoided the area. So what I will be doing next time, well, actually I've already done it. I got my information from this tub. And what I'm doing now is I got these bigger tubs, and I let the substrate dry a bit more because I did add a pretty good amount of liquid culture in here. But what I like about these tubs, I'm able to just add a little pressure in on the sides of the tubs that creates air pockets on the side, so air can get down in there and everything won't be so wet. So daily I'll come and I'll just move those around a little bit. I could shake them, but I don't want to do that. I want to just move it around just a little bit. So I'll just basically give it a little massage there, and that just looks like a happy tub. And I'm still very thankful for this tub, as I did get some valuable information from it. Now this is the substrate that I created on my last video. And I just grabbed a chunk of spawn that was in one of the trays, and there was some substrate that was floating around. There was quite a bit of substrate that was floating around in this jar. I grabbed a couple of pieces out, but there was a lot that stayed in. And what ended up happening was the culture was consuming it. I'd wake up and I'd get up in the morning and come and check out the status, and it would have a buildup of the spawn all over the pieces of the substrate. I'll give it a good shake, and that's been working real well for me. Now, real quick, I'd just like to go over real quick about the sprays that I'm using. I got this for treatment. So this is what I'll spray on contamination pieces and troubled areas. This is distilled water, and I have 20 HP drops in it. Now this sprayer here is what I use to hydrate the tubs and spray on the sides of the bin that I'm getting ready to show you here. This is regular tap water that I've let a pitcher full of the tap water. I let it sit out, let the chlorine evaporate out of it, and in this bottle I just added 5 drops of HP just to keep things healthy. So those are what I use on this bin here. Now I put this bin together with a couple of things in mind. I flipped the tub, as you can see, and I lifted it a 1/4 inch so that CO2 would be able to come out, because that is definitely not a good thing. We've got to get rid of CO2. It can't be in the bin. I also added 5 holes up here on top, and that allows for air to come in, so we've got a healthy airflow. The CO2 comes out, the air gets pulled in, and the tubs and the spawn just love it. So now I'd like to show you what I have going on inside here. I put these 2 tubs in the middle of the other tubs so I could have more humidity inside. And these are filled with distilled water and 5 drops of HP each. That way there'll be no bacteria growth in here. It's just gonna stay just like it is. Now, I'll use this sprayer. You know, it's only got 5 drops of tap water. Spray it on there daily, and I'll spray the inside of the tub daily if needed. But these little hydration tubs right here really keep things nice inside the tub. Now this right here I'll use for treating. This has got 20 drops inside of distilled water. Now, if I could show you a close-up of some trike that showed up, got some contamination that showed up in the tub there. Actually, it showed up in multiple locations. But one thing that I did with the coconut coir, I didn't add boiling water to hydrate the coconut coir. I just used HP. I added half a teaspoon into the bucket that I was using to hydrate. And what that's all about is it's trial and error. It's research and development. I kind of create a problem and find a resolution, and it allows me to gather information that's very helpful. So if you look in the front of the bin there, you're going to see some trike, some contamination there that was really wanting to populate the whole inside of that tub. And it doesn't take long. It moves really fast. And as you can see, I have a healthy spawn up on top of that substrate, and the contamination is halted. And there are a couple of places here in the tub where, well, actually all of them, where the spawn is growing over the contamination. And that's part by the HP drops and also the airflow. So those 2 things are working together awesomely. So when I do my next tubs, I will be adding boiling water to treat the possibility of contamination, and I'll add half a teaspoon of HP into the bucket after the boiling water cools. When I'm hydrating the coconut coir, I'll usually add more water than's needed so that I could get the HP inside the water there. And at the end, I'll have a little bit of water. I'll have like a quart of water left over that I'll actually water the tubs with. Because when the substrate starts to dry, it'll start to compact. As the mushrooms start growing, it's going to start using up the water that's in there, and it's going to start shrinking. What I'll do is I'll get like I'll get some type of turkey baster or some, a pitot tube. I'll get maybe even just a cup where I could pour the treated water on the sides of the bin. That will eventually make it all the way down to the bottom level of the bin and hydrate the coconut core. I'm going to try that next. We're going to see how that goes. But right now, I'm using, and I'm going to be harvesting a tub from tubs that should have been trash. Because once that trite gets in there, it's over with. But as you can see, that's been put on hold, and now I'm just waiting for a harvest. So that's what I've been working on. That is the update I have for you. But actually, I'd just like to show you one more thing. And that is, you need to have a bit more performance or benefits from your mushroom intake. You can take 7 to 10 drops of this with your dose. You can use a dropper. You can add these to your tea, your coffee, or just take a straight dropper and just while you're having your mushrooms, you can just have a few drops at the same time, however it works for you. But that is an update. I got an update for you, and definitely things are moving forward, and I'm very pleased with the results. Got a secret weapon, and it's definitely changed things. So I hope that you have healthy grows. Thanks for checking in. This is Mr. Rob, out.